This is interesting. So, and this is an important point here. What are we looking at? Trump's executive order restoring free speech does not revoke the executive order 13899, which he signed in 2019 and which Biden continues, which adopts the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, making criticism of Israel and biblical references as hate speech. So this is still lingering here. There's a copy of the executive order from 2019. Now, how you enforce that is another thing. And if the Supreme Court will eventually rule on these cases, it's of course going to get defeated on First Amendment grounds. But what sort of hell is it going to create for the life of people who end up falling foul of this, whether they're students at Harvard University, which we'll come to in a moment. And look at this. Harvard adopts a definition of anti-Semitism for discipline cases. Now, this came off the back of the Palestinian student protests, part of a settlement in 2 lawsuits filed by Jewish groups that accused the school, Harvard in this case, of not doing enough to prevent and punish anti-Semitism on campus. They're talking about pro-Palestinian human rights protests, which they conflated with pro-Hamas. Now, Glenn Greenwald did a really great analysis of this on Systems Update here, and these are the 3 main items. This will get you disciplined or kicked out of Harvard or whatnot. Manifestations might include the targeting of the state of Israel, conceived as a Jewish collectivity. Again, very strange language here. Accusing Jewish students of, we'll go back. Accusing Jewish students of being more loyal to Israel or to the alleged priorities of Jews worldwide than to the interests of their own nations. I know people that are like Ben Shapiro are outright declaring their loyalty to Israel over U.S. interests in many cases. And there are many examples of this. So is that no longer, I mean, a lot of people do this from their own foreign countries, but it's not allowed in the case of Israel. So again, this is very selective. And he goes on here, denying that Jewish people their right to self-determination by claiming that the existence of the state of Israel is a racist endeavor. Okay. Greenwald makes the case that a lot of Americans say the existence of the United States is a racist endeavor, but that's protected speech.
Right.
Or that the existence of another example, you could say another state is a racist endeavor. That's all protected speech, but Israel, not protected speech. Here, using symbols and images associated with anti-Semitism, etc., to characterize Israel or Israelis, blood libel, or that claims that Jews killed Jesus is blood libel. Well, that's kind of a biblical reference, but you're not allowed to say it in public. I mean, hugely problematic. Finally here, applying double standards by requiring of it a behavior not expected or demanded of any other democratic nation. I'm not sure what that means, Mike. And then drawing comparisons of contemporary Israeli policy, like genocide, to that of the Nazis. That's prohibited speech. So, yeah, it's on the student level now at an Ivy League institution, but how long before it becomes national? Here, and look at this. Just days after this ruling, Harvard Medical School cancels a class session with Gazan patients being treated in Boston, calling it one-sided here. Harvard Medical School cancels this lecture, Wartime Health Care, in a subsequent panel discussion with patients from Gaza receiving care in Boston in response to objections that the students would only hear Gaza's impacted by the war and not Israeli. So they don't have Israeli patients present, so they have to cancel the lecture, basically.